Real-world asset cryptos are one of the top-performing narratives of this bull market so far, with coins like OM Mantra exploding towards the upside in just the last few weeks. But it's not just by luck. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why these coins are doing it, but I'm also going to tell you about some other smaller cap real-world asset gems that I think have the ability to see some significant upside in the coming weeks and months. So hit that like button. And let's get into today's video. Now guys, before we go and dive in and find out more about these individual coins, it's really important that you understand more about why this particular narrative is one of the hottest narratives in all of crypto right now. And mainly it's because of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, who now through their iShares Bitcoin ETF own more than 2% of the entire Bitcoin supply. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, earlier in the year said after the success of the Bitcoin ETF, they are now looking to tokenize assets on a mass scale, and traditional finance markets and DeFi will start to combine. And to show that they mean business, earlier on in the year, they launched a $100 million tokenized fund on the Ethereum network. And it's things like this that are now seeing the total value of the real-world asset narrative surging towards $15 billion as we head towards the end of 2024. And this is projected to explode towards the upside as traditional finance starts entering into the market. This is the CEO of Chainlink, one of the OG real-world asset platforms, Sergey Nazarov, basically saying that the valuation of tokenized assets by the end of this bull market could be higher than the entire crypto market put together in terms of combined market cap values. Now, whether or not that's going to be true by this bull market end, I think it's more than likely going to be true by the next one, as traditional finance is moving very fast towards blockchain capability, and especially with the new Trump administration starting in the US from the first part of next year. But unfortunately, for coins like Mantra, you might be just a little bit late to the party, because this coin has already seen a massive upside, because since back in January, it's currently sat up around 48x, having already seen nearly a 59x from its inception. But the good news is we can understand why this coin has been pumping so hard, and we can start to identify other opportunities in the space. Now, what is OM Mantra? Well, it's a purpose-built layer 1 blockchain built for real-world assets. But most importantly, and this is going to be very key for when we look at the coins that we might want to be looking to invest in, we can see that everything is to do with adherence to real-world regulatory compliance. Okay, or regulatory requirements. And why might that be so important, you ask? Well, because traditional finance isn't quite like the pump.fun meme coin market, which has completely lost its bearings recently, but that's a video for another day, because it's heavily regulated. But besides all this regulatory compliance stuff, OM has recently joined up in huge partnerships, which have been worth billions of dollars. This has also helped them to build huge TVL, or total value locks, which has now not only affected the price of the actual token. You can see there's on and off ramping with regulatory compliance, governance and continuous upgrades, IBC compatibility and token movements. Ultimately, if you think about what real world assets might mean, it's actually quite a broad narrative, but in this particular framework, it's taking things like shares, like a Tesla share or stock, and Nvidia shares and stock, and basically turning them into tokenized assets, linking them to the blockchain. This is what BlackRock's trying to do. It's trying to turn all traditional markets into tokenized assets. And the projects that are enabling that to happen, we can see right in front of us right now. And these tokens are drawing in a lot of that value. Now, OM Mantra has a market cap of $3.27 billion. I don't think that it's going to stop there. I do think there is possibility to see this going to $15 to $20 billion. But that means realistically, we're going to get a 5 or 6x out of this. And many out there will be like, well, don't hold OM Mantra. You should hold Ondo instead. And that's an interesting shout, because Ondo does have a smaller market cap at $1.38 billion, which then you would say gives it a 10 to 15x upside, which is much smaller potential than the projects I'm going to speak about after this. But Ondo is considered to be the global standard for crypto capital markets. It's partnered up with BlackRock, which is obviously a massively positive thing, and allows it to bring institutional grade products to you and me and other people around the world, which means being able to invest in stable yields, which is backed by US treasuries. Okay, so it means you can invest, earn 4.9% APY, which is pretty good for the average person out there, and it's backed by US treasuries, so you're not going to see too much go wrong. You can see the TVL growing all the time over on Ondo, which is obviously very exciting. Ondo, however, does have a few unlocks coming up, which people are very cautious of, I'm aware, in bull markets. But I do think, unlike OM, it has a much more positive chart. You can see it has had that kind of classic pullback like this, created a space, and right now it looks like it's potentially going to come back and retest this area somewhere around 93 cents. Now, in terms of larger market cap, lower risk, but decent return coins. Ondo definitely makes it for me. And just for transparency, I do hold some of this coin, but it doesn't matter, guys. It's got a $1.3 billion market cap, okay? Just by watching this video, it's not going to pump because of me. I just wanted to let you know, okay? Ondo I hold rather than OM because it's linked with BlackRock. Large caps I expect to be moving next, and because the chart basically looks a bit better. Now on to the next one, rTrade, with a market cap of $37 million. I really wanted to show you this project because it elaborates how much more there is to this real world asset narrative than many previously thought. Because as you can see, it's saying it's introducing the world to art real world asset tokenization. And you're like, what the hell does that mean? Well, rTrade basically goes out there and buys very expensive artwork like Picasso's and Banksy's and whatever else. Assets that are worth an incredibly large amount of money, and in fact that are pretty much recession proof, because obviously people will still want to buy those particular assets no matter what the market is doing underneath. And the benefit of a platform like this is you don't have to go and have $50 million to buy a Picasso painting, but in fact, you can buy a token that represents a share of that asset. And to me, that's something that's very cool. Now you can see down below, these are just some of the things that they have available to them. And these aren't NFTs, right? These are real world artworks that are kept in safe storage or safe places around the world, okay? And then by clicking on this, you can go and buy a portion of that. So instead of holding a collectible like an NFT, you can hold potentially a world famous collectible and have a share in that collection. Now as well, something else you can do is basically by holding the token and staking it, you can then support this company. Okay, so if the company then becomes more successful because it has more money to be staked, that it can then go and use to buy things like artwork, then it's going to pay back more rewards to its stakers. This to me makes so much more sense than all of those DeFi products did in the last bull market. You know, the ones that like gave you like 15 to 20% yields, and you're like, yeah, but where do you make the money? And they're like, oh yeah, well, we just lend the money to someone else and then we take the money from other people, and it was all a bit confusing. Real world assets is literally having solid, tangible products that they're investing in, making money on them with their expertise, and you can then invest in them and benefit from their expertise. Absolute genius. And you can see you can become various different like members and things like that. This one here, to become an ambassador with a 90-day lock, allows you to earn a 25% APY. And again, this is obviously backed by the artwork and things that they are investing in. So if you're interested in this and you're interested in artwork, make sure you come across and check it out. Okay, you can go and see the different individuals. And as well, when you're basically tokenizing some of the artwork, not only do you own a share of it, but you also get the kind of tokenized artwork NFT, which is obviously kind of cool. And NFTs in the last bull market blew up. I do anticipate that NFTs could well blow up in this bull market. So very interesting things going on over at rTrade. Now looking across at this rTrade chart, you can see I've already put the rounded cup pattern that we like to cover on this channel, where we've had the pullback, we've now established our cup, and now in just the last day or two, we've started to break beyond there. If you've paid attention to this pattern on my channel that we've been talking about in various other cryptos, you know what potentially can happen next for some of these coins. For example, what happened to Dogecoin after it broke out. You can see we do sometimes get a breakout, a retest, and then we send, okay? This is a meme coin, but all coins are following this very similar structure. And if you've never seen me talk about this structure before, and you've never seen me before, and you're wondering how on earth to know whether it's good to enter a coin now or another time, then make sure that you're subscribed to the House of Crypto. I make videos every single day, deep diving different narratives, helping you to understand why particular narratives are pumping and which coins that you should be paying attention to. I'll teach you the latest tips and tricks, as well as give you free tools that allow you to become an expert in crypto. And by becoming an expert yourself, you're going to make far more money during this crypto bull market than if you're just blindly buying off of advice from YouTubers or people on Twitter or anything like that. So make sure, if you haven't already done it, you are damn well subscribed to House of Crypto, okay? And while you're at it, if you didn't do it at the start, just hit that like button. Thank you. Now, rTrade, with the market cap it's got, if real world assets does continue to be the narrative of interest, there's no reason why I can't see this going towards like $600 million, maybe even up towards $1 billion plus, if it really catches the imagination of investors. And that could be anywhere from like a 20 to maybe even a 50x if everything goes really crazy in this bull market. Okay, so in addition to rTrade, another coin caught my eye recently, and it is this one, Bricken. Why has Bricken caught my eye? Well, it was mainly because of this article that was released at the start of November. Bricken collaborated with BNB Chain to be the provider for real-world asset tokenization. It is the official partner now of the Binance Smart Chain. So any companies out there that are looking to work and build on Binance Smart Chain will be tokenizing their assets through Bricken as the official provider of real-world assets to the platform. So what on earth is Bricken? Well, Bricken allows you to create your own real-world asset tokens. And you're like, well, why would I want to do that? Well, just think about it like this. Maybe you want to go and invest in properties that you can use for Airbnb, but you don't necessarily have the money to keep buying all these Airbnbs. You can go and create tokenized assets that are built on the blockchain, and people can invest in them, and then you can go and buy different Airbnb properties. These people will then earn a yield for investing. There will obviously be the fees for the Airbnb. You can also do it with other companies. For example, if you sell wine, maybe you could invest in expensive wines and things like that, and you could tokenize bottles of wine that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. There are endless possibilities to things that you can tokenize. And this is very, very interesting because it allows people around the world to create businesses and to be able to benefit from tokenization of assets, and to then use those funds to be able to create exciting new opportunities for everyone. And then also us as investors, it diversifies our potential in terms of what we can invest in the future. This is something that I really like the look of. You can see at the moment, total tokenized value right now is $230 million, which means it's already starting to be used. $12 million in terms of TVL, also catching up. But I've also come down below and I found out that they're also funded by the European Union. Okay, so this kind of stuff is what makes real world assets very solid in terms of investment potential during this bull market. They're actually being regulated by governments, and they're actually being utilized by governments to be able to fund new kind of development programs, to be able to fund development of financial systems, etc. So obviously this caught my eye with Bricken. But another thing, if you saw my video yesterday, which I would recommend checking out after this if you haven't already seen it, it shows you how to go and find coins that are likely to list on Binance next. Often coins that have been backed by Binance Lab, or in fact are the major partners of Binance Smart Chain, have a very high chance in the future of being listed on Binance, which is always a catalyst for massive upside, like we've seen in coins like Cetus and others recently. And this is all very exciting because Bricken right now only has a $24 million market cap. So a coin that is in partnership with the EU, in partnership with various other regulatory bodies around the world, as well as with growing assets under management and actually people using their service, is only worth right now $24 million. So let's have a look at a chart. Does it give us a good entry? Well, again, it's up 6-7% today, and in fact showing similar patterns to maybe some of the others that we've just checked out. Now from this chart pattern, you can see that Bricken is still in this kind of cup pattern after kind of pullbacks that it saw in March. But look, back in March, you can see just how much growth this saw in a very short space of time. It did an 11x around the time that real world assets were heating up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bricken, as well as some of the other smaller cap real world asset platforms, absolutely blowing up when we see more of that news coming out from BlackRock, etc. Now guys, as you're aware, I talk about lots of different crypto coins on this channel. This isn't so that you just go and ape into each of these different ones and you end up with a portfolio of like 50 different coins, but it's so that you can identify for yourself which potentially give you the best opportunity. Now, we've seen what has happened to Bricken in the past with a $24 million market cap. If real world assets really start to pick up, there's no reason why we can't see this going to $500 million to $1 billion, which would give you anywhere from a 20 to a 40x. Now, guys, obviously on this YouTube channel, I talk about lots of different crypto coins. I advise you on coins that I've been investing in and ones that I'm interested in, but I'm not going to go and tell you to go and invest in every single one. It's up to you to be able to learn the skills and understand that you shouldn't be holding every single one of these tokens, but really trying to drive your attention towards certain narratives. For me, my focus is on real world assets, AI tokens, and a handful of others. And throughout this bull market, I'll continue to direct you towards things that I'm looking at that I think you should be looking at. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already subscribed, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye-bye.